Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, afraidies and mentalmen. Ha ha ha. Welcome to another edition of Dan's Paranormal Diaries. And today I'm going to tell you the story of M1. And I'll try and keep it as short as I can. Cut a long story short, it was in the sort of early mid-90s, so around 92, 93, something like that. And a good friend of mine and my particular group of friends passed away in a horrible car accident. Fortunately, no one else was hurt in that accident. It was just him, and I hope that he died instantaneously and without much pain. But he basically went off a road in bad weather. It's a country lane, and he went off the road into his car flew into a large oak tree, completely teetotaled. It was written off, and he was pronounced dead at the scene, apparently. We were told by the police that he had passed away and that he had most likely died instantly. So anyway, a good friend of mine and myself, we decided that we wanted to try and contact him using a Ouija board. Now, we had used Ouija boards before with our friends, but we weren't entirely sure if it was real or not. We had good reason to believe that our friends were just fooling around and having us on by moving the planchette or the glass. We used a glass and a candle, and it was actually a homemade Ouija board, but those still work. Anyway, this time we went in, just the two of us, and we had our homemade Ouija board with us, and we had a glass and a candle, and we set the Ouija board up in this old disused house. So I'll explain a little bit about that house. It's probably, I don't know if it's got much to do with what happened, the age of the house or what, but anyway, it might help to know what the house was like and its layout. We used to get into this house through the kitchen window, because it actually didn't have a window, it was just an opening ready to put a new window in, right? The house itself was probably 100, 200 years old or something. It's in the Cotswolds in a town called Chipping Campden, and it's on a back street where most buildings were about 200 meters away from each other, with their gardens and driveways and whatnot. So it's not the kind of place that would have been easy for other people to see what's going on in. So it was an ideal place for us to hide out in, smoke cigarettes, have reefers, take our girlfriends there and stuff, unbeknownst to our parents. So, Mum, if you're listening to this, sorry. But yes, well, we all have to live and learn, don't we, somehow? So, we got into that house through the kitchen window, into the kitchen, which was just basically, the floor was covered in building materials and debris, rubbish, and the roof overhead was partially unfinished or under repair or something, and it's just open rafters, the beams of the roof with some slating on one side, and an opening at the top which had been covered with some kind of tarp. So it's in a pretty bad state, that roof is, anyway. And then you come out of the kitchen and into a living room, and immediately on your left are the stairs that go up to the second floor. And living room again, it's just it's a flagstone floor. It's quite small. and there's cement bags, building materials and whatnot just left in there, ready for the workmen to carry on with the renovations. And it had been like this for a year or so. We'd been going there for it hadn't really, no progress had been made, it seemed, for quite a while. But anyway, we would go up into go up the stairs, and immediately opposite you is a small room with a window facing north, and then to the left of you would be an attic room above the kitchen, but of course you'd see down through the rafters into the kitchen because there was no floor on it yet. It looked like the rafters were newly put in and the new roof was under construction or something. Yeah, we would use the small room directly in front of us, and then if you're at the top of the stairs to the right, there's another room which is a bit larger, I guess the master bedroom. So it's like a 2-bedroom with an attic space and a living room downstairs. It's quite small, and it was pretty old sandstone construction, typical of the Cotswolds. Anyways, so my friend and I went to get in touch with our deceased friend, who had left behind a partially handicapped brother, a younger brother who was partially autistic, and he also had some kind of mobility issue with the right hand side of his body. I don't know if he had a stroke or something when he was a child, but he wasn't so disabled. He even went to the same school as us, but his mental capacity was below his actual physical age, his biological age. So he was bullied a lot, and his brother was I was also bullied a lot at school, by the way, but I won't go into the reasons why that was, but his brother was like 3 or 4 years older than us, and he's quite a strong lad, very sporty, and he looked tough as hell. He had a skinhead. We'll call him Jay in this video. Won't mention real names, but yeah, he would look out for us. You know, if we were getting into trouble or getting threatened or bullied or whatever, he would look out for us, and he would ward the pests away. So we were greatly indebted to him, and he was always kind. He's like a big brother, you know, like a big brother looking out for us, which is really nice for me, especially as a single child, an only child. Yeah, we loved him. He was a really good guy. He was well loved, and it was such a shame to lose him. So we wanted to get in touch with him and see if he was okay, what his status is in purgatory or wherever it is that he might be, and tell him that we miss him, and tell him that his brother's doing okay, and we're looking out for his brother a bit, you know. Yeah, long story short, we opened up the Ouija board. We got what seemed to be him coming through. The glass was moving. I was skeptical because I thought maybe my friend is moving the glass, and he was also skeptical, as he told me later. He thought that maybe I was moving the glass. So you know, the flame had flickered on the candle when we got some contact. Could have just been a draft, though, you know what I mean. So we don't know. We're skeptical, like we were the last 2 times we did a Ouija board with our friends. We just didn't 100% believe in it, really. Anyway, so we're asking him all these questions, blah 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 blah, and then suddenly his answers ceased to make any sense, and the glass, we were using a glass, goes upside down glass, and the glass goes to M and then to the number 1, and we said, Jay, are you still there? And it goes to M and then to number 1 again. I think it did it one more time, and then it went round really fast and spelled the phrase "get out." Right? And the glass flipped over and the flame on the candle just blew out, and the candle fell over, I believe. So we were like, what the hell? So we did it as it said. We started making our way out, and as we were making our way out, there was a huge creaking and cracking sound coming from the rafters above the kitchen. That's the only way out of the house, by the way, that we knew of. So we just pelted it down the stairs, out of the kitchen window, had to climb out of it. I remember I let my friend go first, and then I clambered out, and as I was clambering out, we just jumped down into the grass in the front, in the backyard there below, and the whole roof caved in above the kitchen. It just cracked, and all the slates fell down and into the kitchen, and plumes of dust coming up everywhere, and we were really shaken up. So we made our way back to his house, and smoking cigarettes on the way to calm us, and it was really, really scary. I don't think it was a coincidence, because it happened immediately after we were told get out, and then we said to each other, oh, so you weren't pushing the glass around? That actually happened. I wasn't pushing the glass, no. So we established that neither of us were pushing the glass, and it actually happened, which is just crazy. So I think it was the next day or the weekend or something, the next weekend when we had time, because of course we have school and stuff to contend with, we decided to research and go to the library, and look up supernatural occurrences, or look up about Ouija boards, wherever we could find information. And in there were some books on the occult, and I remember leafing through a few books and a few magazines and finding M1 documented, and it was reported in a few places as a malevolent entity or energy, whatever you want to call it. So that further cemented our story as being something that actually really happened. I know it sounds insane, but I've no doubt that was real. It's dangerous. It is very dangerous to dabble in seances and Ouija boards, and I strongly recommend that before you do anything like that, you make sure you know how to close a session properly. I didn't know. My friend didn't know how to close the session properly. We didn't close the session. The glass flipped over. That's really bad. It's not a good thing if that happens. That means that you've possibly let something out. And how, I have all kinds of theories. There are all kinds of theories as to how it works, or where these forces come from. I'm not going to call them ghosts. I'm just going to call them forces, because I like to think of these things more scientifically if I can. I'm not a scientist, but I think that there is a scientific explanation for all of these supernatural occurrences, and I think it's just a science that we don't understand yet. With time, hopefully we will. Hopefully there'll be more documented evidence, and there'll be better ways of measuring the frequencies that these things exist on, because that's what I think it is, essentially. But anyway, that's something to debate in another video, I think. But that's the story, guys. It's insane, absolutely insane. It's the most insane thing that I've ever experienced. And what happened after that, which is in my video, The White Witch, is equally as bizarre, and also it also just cements in my mind that yeah, there is indeed a plane of existence, or a frequency which these things are in existence. So yeah, I recommend you have a listen to that as well. Alright, and if you like the music that's playing in the background of this video, do follow the links to my music page, my YouTube, Patreon, etc, etc. It's all, you know, you can access that track, you can access all kinds of other music as well if you like it. And yeah, I appreciate you watching, taking the time. It'd be lovely to hear your comments and thoughts, or your experiences, if you have any, about this, or your skepticism. Of course, I totally understand skepticism. Maybe you don't believe in these kinds of things, and I'll tell you what, I think these kinds of things only occur in places where there is not too much interference, like in a city, in large towns, large cities, and so on and so forth, where there's a lot of mains, electricity, there's a lot of media, radio waves, and stuff. People are using microwaves, they're using cell phone towers, all the rest of it, and it's all very concentrated into a small area. You get far less activity, and I think there's a scientific reason for that. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's probably to do with the frequency that these things exist on, or the plane, if you want to call it that. Anyway, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again in another one. Cheers.